Hello and welcome. My name is Elise. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are going to do a card set featuring stamps from the Stamp Market set called Simply Pen, just doing some basic watercoloring. If you want to see how I made these cards, then keep watching. So I started out with Canson XL watercolor paper that I trimmed down to be 4.5 by 6 inches each. So I'll trim these down later for the final card. So I'm just right now selecting the stamps I want to use. This stamp set has really adorable big greetings. So I thought this would make the perfect little gift set for a friend. So selected the ones I wanted to use. Hi, hello, thank you, and congrats. And right now I'm just using my Misty tool. I nearly forgot to use the magic embossing bag. And so I'm using some Versamark ink here and then some Hero Arts white embossing powder on those. It'll be hard to see on camera because it's white on white, but I am using white embossing powder to emboss these and Versamark ink to stamp them. I thought you didn't really need to see me stamp all four. It's kind of redundant, the same thing. So I'm just putting the stamps away, and then I will get out my heat gun, and I just heat that up a little bit before I bring it to the paper, and I'm just heat setting all of that embossing powder until it is dry. So now I am going to take each individual card, and I'm going to tape these down to a cutting board, and I'm just using blue painter's tape, nothing fancy here, just even, I mean, I literally bought it at the Home Depot. It's the kind you use for your house if you're going to paint the walls and you want to cover the trim or something like that. So I'm just taping these down because I heat set them. The card stock is a little bit warped, but that's okay. You know, it doesn't really much matter. I'm not doing anything overly precise. So I'm just wetting down the paper with clean, clear water. And right now I'm just looking. This is the Gonzai Tombi watercolor set, and it has like a nice swatch chart on the inside. So I'm just looking at the swatch chart that I made when I got this set, trying to decide which colors I'm going to use. And I'm just literally slapping this down, no rhyme or reason. I go back in with a few different shades of blue here, trying to get a little bit of variation just for this card so that there's a little bit of interest. But I mean, really, this is nothing fancy. I kind of laughed when I was making these. I think that this card set is probably by far the most millennial thing, especially the stamp set is for sure the most millennial looking stamp set I've ever seen. Just the script lettering and the way that it looks, it's just hilarious. And so just doing the watercolor, these were very stereotypical millennial of me, but that's all right. I think they look adorable. So I'm just heat drying that, getting that set. I thought maybe I'd go in with a little bit more color, but I decided not to. I really like that these are a little bit lighter and on the pastel side. So there's the first card. And then on the second card, this is the high card. There was a little spot where I had not heat embossed it the entire way through. So just once again, taping that down. And again, that paper is just a little bit warped, but that's all right because I mean, like I said, it really does not matter. So in a second here, I'm going to make a nearly I go in right for the color, and I'm about to put it down, and then I wait, and I realize, oh, I really needed to have done the water on that first so that the watercolor spreads out nicely. And I just, you know, I just went over the whole thing. It really did not matter just because I'm mainly using pinks here. So if instead of clean, clear water, it was slightly pink tinted, that was totally okay. So I am just going ahead once again, slapping this down and then using my heat gun to come in and dry it just a little bit and patting some up with a paper towel to try to sop up some of that color. So it's about here when I thought maybe it looks a little bit plain. I don't know. And I went in with a smaller paintbrush to pick up some of that gold color and just do some flicks. And part of me still kind of wishes I had not done this. And of course, right after I did it, I tried to sop some of them up. And so they're pretty light. And in the real card, in real life, they're not overly, the little specks aren't overly obvious. By the way, to be fair, I am not the most experienced watercolorer. This is just fun for me, something fun that I like to do, experiment with the watercolors. And the brushes that I'm using are the Zen brushes. I picked them up at Simon Says Stamp. They are extraordinarily reasonably priced. I think the most expensive one in the set is maybe $5 or $6, and so I think that's pretty safe when you're starting out to go with a cheaper set. And honestly, I can't imagine me going out and buying more expensive sets. I know I see a lot of people, Sandy Allnack and Kelly and some other people here on YouTube using the silver brushes, I think what the brand is. And so I just can't imagine myself buying more expensive brushes, because this is just something I do for fun and not the primary way that I typically color. So on this one, the hello greeting, I decided I would do 2 colors. Another thing you'll probably notice is that almost all of these colors are cool toned. I just lean toward cool toned colors more. I had sopped up a little bit of that blue and just decided it would be better if it had a little bit more dimension to it. It just kind of looked like one solid wash, and so I just went in with a little bit more paint there after I had almost dried it all. So there's the 3rd card, and then here is the 4th card. It's the thank you card. This one was probably my favorite card. I really, really liked how this watercolor panel turned out. As you can see by my black craft mat, I'm a very messy crafter. So there's a lot of little splotches and things. You can kind of see some of the paint on the side gets glopped up onto the white edges. That really doesn't bother me. Everything can get cleaned up in the end, and I don't like to stop and clean in the middle of things. It just kind of slows me down. So on this one, once again, I did 2 colors. These are probably my 2 favorite colors in the set. They're almost chalky looking, almost in the way that that kind of effect that you would get with distress oxides. So I really, really like those 2 colors, that kind of really light blue and that more turquoisey green. And I think they look really, really pretty together. And I like how light this one is. It's kind of hard with the light to see, but it looks really, really beautiful in real life. So now I'm just cleaning up my space going in. This is Nina 110 pound white cardstock that I am cutting down so I can have top folding and side folding cards. I'm just scoring those. I don't think this Martha Stewart scoreboard is available anymore, which is really unfortunate. And then I'm using a Teflon bone folder to score those. It's really, really funny. I typically never use top folding or side folding cards, to be honest. I kind of like the traditional set more, but I decided I was going out of the box with the watercoloring. I was going to keep going. So here's my job ticket folder of fun foam. Because these are so plain, and for a while I really did, I tried to think, do I want to add sequins to these or Nouveau drops or something to make them stand out a little bit more, but I really did think to keep them plain. So I'm going to use fun foam to pop those up, and right now I'm just trimming off the excess, trying to see how much it leaves me with, because these panels are started out at 4.5 by 6. And so, I was not precise on the way I did the stamping. I wasn't precise on centering them or anything like that. So there are some of these where I trim off the white and then realize there's a little bit more on one side, and I trim a little bit off. So just trimming all of these panels down. It really did not take me long to make these. The video is sped up 4 times, so it's kind of misleading. But all in all, I think it only took me maybe 50 minutes to make these 4 cards, which for me is really not too long. So now I'm cutting down that fun foam. I use my trimmer to cut my fun foam. I usually just go over it twice, and then it really just adds more like a score line, and then I just rip off the extra. And then little slivers like that, I don't save. I probably should, but fun foam is not something I hoard in my crafting stash. I'm happy to just buy more. So just trying to line those up, getting pieces that fit the backs of my little panels properly, and then I'm adhering all of the fun foam to the panels, and then the panels with the fun foam to the cards. I'm using score tape for this. I think this is 1/4 inch size. I use score tape or Be Creative tape. I think it's the same thing for so many cards. It's just my go-to tape, especially for adhering fun foam. I think it does a really good job. I have tried to use like dot rollers and things like that to adhere fun foam, and I have not yet found one that works well. I know Kathy Zilski suggests one. I think it's the Scrapbooks adhesives, and I keep thinking to myself I'm going to go out and get that. But then I just think, the score tape does the job, so I don't really need to get another dot roller. But the dot roller that I have is just nothing comes off the roller when you run it over the fun foam. So for me, the tape is the way to go. I know that so many people have really hard times with the backings of these, and every once in a while I find one that it's harder to peel up, but for the most part it's easy, especially these wider sections. I know I've got some of this tape that's maybe, it's less than 1/8 of an inch wide, that I find harder to peel off. So here are the final cards: the hi, thank you, hello, and congrats. I think this just makes a really nice card set to give as a gift, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it to my friend as a gift. So then I went out and I took out my big selection of envelopes and found the matching envelopes that I wanted to use. All of the envelopes that I have are either from Simon Says Stamp or from Gina K Designs. And then I went back to that stamp set, and there was a cute little stamp that said "with love." So I thought that would be nice to stamp on the back of the envelopes and just to have a little coordinating sentiment. So once again, my magic powder embossing bag, my best friend, because or else I would have embossing powder everywhere. The times that I forget to use it, I really hate myself because I've ruined many cards that way. So just going through all of the envelopes, using that Versamark ink again, and the embossing powder to get those all on. And then I am going to go ahead and heat set all of those. My gun was still pretty warm from when I had done the cards, because I just did this all in one sitting. So it did not take very long at all to get those to melt. Those are the cards for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really enjoy this stamp set. Let me know, has anybody ever purchased stamps from the stamp market? This was my first time using them, and I was really impressed. Please subscribe if you want to see more videos, and have a great day.